Hey, what's up, Spooky fam? Today's video is everything I watched in the month of September. If you would like to see what I am watching throughout the month, you can check out my letterboxd, Deadgrl YT. If you don't know what letterboxd is, it's just like a thing you can do to like log your movies and just kind of keep track of what you're watching. I've become obsessed with it. Honestly, it's the reason why I've been watching so many movies. I don't know, it's like satisfying, you know? So if you enjoy videos like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more. Before we get into this, I'm just going to skip over two things. I watched the entire first season of Ratched and I loved it. I thought it was so good. Sarah Paulson was amazing. Oh my god, Cynthia Nixon, so good. Also, I watched all 5 Final Destination movies and I am just about done scripting my video for that because it's gonna be a long one. Just kind of gathering my thoughts and getting organized more or less. So those are just two things that I'm skipping over. I did watch quite a few comedy specials this month. It's been quite a journey. So let's get into it. I did watch a lot of these with my friend Alex. I will leave his channel link down below. We try and watch as many movies together as possible. He's also way cooler on Letterboxd than I am, so. Alright, starting off the month of September, on the 3rd I watched Big Time Adolescence finally, and I loved it. I thought it was so cute. I recommended it to my parents. My mom loved it, my dad hated it. I don't know, it was just, it's my kind of humor, so. Pete, Butthole Eyes Davidson, he's growing on me. And then on the 4th, Alex and I watched I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which was the day that it came out. Oh my goodness, I'm still like conflicted about how I feel about this movie, and I genuinely do think I need to read the book. I've watched enough people break it down that I know what's going on. And spoiler alert, I was reading about what was happening like the last 20 minutes of the movie. Like I just had to like know what the book was, like what was going on in the book, so that I could, you know, kind of grasp what was going on in the movie. But I enjoyed it. I really liked Jesse Plemons. And Toni Collette in that movie, she was so, like, oh my god, I love her in everything that she's in. I don't, like, she could literally just come on to the screen and just, I don't know, wave at me and I would be like, this woman deserves an Oscar. And then on the 5th, Alex and I rewatched 13 Ghosts, and I'm glad that we did because I forgot how much I enjoyed it. Alright, skipping over all the Final Destination movies that took me 4 or 5 days to watch. On the 8th, I watched Sam J 3 in the Morning, and I had only clicked on this because it kept, like, you know how Netflix does that thing where it shows you like a montage of what's trending or whatever, and this was one of them. I had no idea that she was a writer for Saturday Night Live. The jokes were so funny, and honestly, one of the reasons why I clicked on it, I remember, is because the description was like, talks about the audacity of white people, and I'm here for it. But that was one of the funnier comedy specials that I've probably ever seen. Like, it just made talking about how she would rather go on separate vacations with her spouse and then like switch places and then come back and talk about it. I was like, damn. So funny. And then on the 12th, I finally got Alex to watch Dear Zachary, a letter to a father about his son. A letter to a son about his father. I always get that mixed up. I actually have it on DVD because it's such a good movie. But this one is free on YouTube, and I highly, if you guys want to be like rattled to your core, I highly suggest this documentary. It is so sad. There's just a point where you feel like you're comfortable with these people and like you're making this movie for this young boy, and then the rug is just ripped out from underneath you and you're, well, fuck, you know? I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now, and it's so, I cry every time. And then on the 12th, I watched The Babysitter Killer Queen. I might be a little biased about these movies because they are right up my alley. The Babysitter movies remind me of the kind of movies I would flip through TV and find on like the cheesy movie stations in the middle of the night when I lived at my parents' house. So I don't know, it just feels familiar to me, and I really enjoyed it. Also, one of my favorite quotes in that movie is, Why aren't you wearing a shirt, you cunt? I'm pretty sure that's the quote. Also on the 12th, I watched 1BR. Was very surprised by that movie, you guys. It was, I am fully convinced that movie was about the Tom Cruise cult, and you know what I'm talking about. And then the same night, I got Alex to watch a movie that I've been waiting to watch. This was in my secret movie book, A Dark Song, and it was so, like, I don't know, it was strange. I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but it was good for a late night watch. It was a really cool occult movie. So, I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, check that one out. On the 13th, I finally watched Steve-O's Gnarly, and I laughed until I almost peed myself. Like, I was crying laughing, and honestly I think I liked it so much because I grew up with Steve-O and all the guys from Jackass. Viva La Bam, another one. Oh, it's so far over there. Viva La Bam is my life. Like, I grew up so involved in the Viva La Bam Jackass world, and like, still most of the music I listen to is music that I've discovered through them and through the shows. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Where the Fuck is Santa, but that's one of my favorite Bam movies. And I don't know, just Haggard and Ming Hags and all the movies that came out of, you know, like Bam Margera, Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville, all that fun stuff. Like, I just love them so much. So I feel like having that background of love, I really enjoyed Steve-O's Gnarly. And after that, I started listening to Steve-O's podcast, Wild Ride. It is so good. I am very close to being caught up now. I am on the David Arquette episode, and we love David Arquette around here, so I'm really excited about that. But then on the 15th, I rewatched The Babysitter Killer Queen again because I liked it so much. On the 16th, we watched The Devil All the Time, and it was so good. So going into it, Alex told me that it was going to be like a religious Pulp Fiction. So going in with that mindset, I was like, I'm gonna fucking love this movie, and I did. I ate that shit up so good. It was phenomenal. And the way that, like, I've been watching a lot of stuff about Robert Pattinson after the fact, and just the way that he's evolved, and I'm here for his final form. Like, this can't be his final form, but like when he reaches his final form, like, I'm here for it. Maybe Pattinson will be his final form. On the 19th, Alex and I watched Antebellum. It was good, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was unsettling, it was uncomfy, it was important, but I feel like they dropped the ball in showing a lot of symbolism and things that they just didn't expand on enough. And I would have been fine sitting through another like 15 minutes of that movie if they would have just added in things to make it feel more like, I don't know, just a Jordan Peele movie. And then I think it was like directly after that, we watched Resolution. So if you guys know who Benson and Moorhead are, they're two of my favorite directors. They've done a bunch of stuff. Spring, they did a short in the ABCs of Death, I believe. They did a short in VHS Viral. They did Resolution and The Endless, which are fantastic. So I actually sent Alex The Endless in the mail. So now I have to find a copy of Resolution for him. But I figured that we would watch Resolution before we watched The Endless because of the little Easter egg in the movie, and it was a fun rewatch. As I wrote my review as someone who has been through like withdrawal and like, doing it cold turkey, it was just kind of easier to relate to the character in the movie, but I enjoy it. On the 20th, I rewatched Scary Movie 2, and I don't really need to talk about this one except for the fact that I, like, rewatching it, I don't think I've really sat down and paid attention to this movie since I was younger, maybe about 17, 18. Like, it's been on for background noise and stuff, but I just have never, I haven't sat down and listened to, like, the movie. Oh my god, a lot of the lines in that are very, like, that shit wouldn't fly today. And then on the 21st, oh my god, I watched The Sacrament, and it was so sad. It was so If you guys know what Jonestown is, like, it pretty much depicts the entire thing if it were to happen, like, in modern day. But because it has to do with Vice, that's why I'm saying it. It's like a mockumentary. But there's a few scenes in that movie that were so unbelievably hard to watch. There's a one take of someone being fine, to them being strapped down, struggling, to them then being injected with cyanide, to them seizing and dying. And the camera does not stop moving. Like, it's steady cam, and like you just watch it all happen in succession. Like, it's like a 5-minute one take, and it is hard to watch. Also, like, you watch the kids drink the cyanide Kool-Aid, and it is so sad to watch them die. I hated it, but it was so good. On the 23rd, I started going down a John Mulaney rabbit hole, and I started off with The Comeback Kid. I just kind of impulsively downloaded it to watch at work on Netflix, and I loved it. I love the way that he talks about his Jewish wife. I love it so much. So yeah, I ended up watching that one, but we'll get into the rest, I promise. On the 25th, so Alex and I have come to the consensus that I'm not allowed to pick movies ever again, because I chose really terrible movies this weekend and I felt really bad about it. So started off with Demon, and on the 25th we watched Demon, and this is I believe it was Polish, but it's also about a Jewish couple, if I'm remembering correctly. All I know is that I was expecting something to happen and nothing. Like, it was just so painfully boring to watch. Don't recommend. The next day, I needed something to make me feel a little more uncomfy, so I watched Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene for the first time, and I was so effing mad watching that movie. I don't know what it is with cults this month, but I'm upset. 50,000 on my head, that's disrespect. Someone take this camera away from me, okay? Anyways, oh my god. Yeah, this movie was kind of hard to watch. Elizabeth Olsen was so good, and like, another Sarah Paulson, 10 out of 10 for Sarah Paulson. She was so good in that movie, but it was really sad and really upsetting to see the more or less not the side of the cult where you're seeing inside the cult, but you're seeing the aftermath of what happens when someone leaves a cult or a cult like setting, and it's really sad. But you also watch her get like assimilated, and that's also really sad. Okay, and then directly after, because I needed a palate cleanser, I watched John Mulaney New in Town. I think I liked that one better. No, I rated them the same. I liked it the same. I'm not even going... You know what? Just for spoiler alert, I ended up watching the third one. We'll get to it because I didn't log it yet. But yeah, John Mulaney just has a sense of humor that is like right up my alley, and I never knew that I needed it in my life until this weekend. And then another terrible movie that I chose, Dread, and I blame What Culture for this, because I was watching, you know what, now that I comes to think about it, I feel like the movie or the video was about disturbing scenes in terrible movies, and I chose a really shitty movie for the last like 5 seconds of it. So this movie was about like people writing a paper on like whatever. It ended up being people's worst fears, and it was so goddamn stupid, but I wanted to watch it for the scene where the girl is a vegetarian, and they're like, the guy's like, here, eat a steak if you want to live, and then she eats it after like a month, not literally, but then he fucking puts a body in there, and you want to live, eat the body, see if she'll do it. And I thought the whole movie was gonna be like that, and then it certainly was not pleased with that one. So the next morning I woke up and watched a movie called Rupture. That one was decent. It had is her name Noomi Rapace, I believe. She is in What Happened to Monday, and she plays all the sisters in that movie. But in this movie, she was good but kind of annoying at the same time. So this movie was like, it tried to be like Martyrs too much, and it was okay, but I mean, it was a decent concept, but some of the CGI, well, like when their faces, I don't want to like spoil it, I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's CGI in that movie and it just throws off the whole thing, the vibe, you know? It was decent, I guess. On the 28th, I watched John Mulaney Kid Gorgeous live at Radio City, and it was hilarious. Once again, I love John Mulaney. I started watching the Sack Lunch Bunch, and I'm not a fan of that one. I don't know, but all three of the comedy specials I watched were so funny, and they were so good. I also absolutely love the way he talks about, that was my phone. I love the way John Mulaney talks about his dog Petunia. It's so funny when he gives her a French accent.
Meanwhile, Petunia's just staring at us with her Paul Giamatti face like... You're not eating dinner, cocksucker!
So directly after that, I ended up rewatching Grave Encounters, and I just put it on for background noise. I'm never really gonna be satisfied with this one, so moving on. And then to end the month, on the same night, on the 28th, I ended up watching a documentary that I've been waiting to watch, or meaning to watch, I should say, that everyone's like, it's so disturbing. It really wasn't in comparison to a lot of the things that I've seen. It was There's Something Wrong with Aunt Diane, and it is also free on Netflix. It is also free on YouTube, I should say. Netflix ain't free. Anyways, it is essentially, I'm not going to like go into depth, but it's essentially a story about a woman who had a bunch of her children and nieces and nephews in the car. I believe there was boys and girls. And she just kind of drove the opposite way into traffic one day and just said, fuck it. We're gonna kill everyone, and she killed everyone and 3 other people. So it was really disturbing in that sense, and that you heard like the 911 calls, but it was more frustrating than anything to hear the one woman say, but if we could just exhume the body again, can we just exhume the body? Like, can we just let dead people be dead people? Like, stop. My God, it was very, like, I kept getting so mad whenever she'd be like, can we just exhume the body? Like, fuck off. Anyways, yeah, so that's everything that I watched in the month of September. October is spooky month, so expect a lot of horror movies this month coming up. I hope you're excited. I cannot believe we're almost at January and like shitty horror movie releases already. I still haven't watched The Grudge or like The Turning or anything that came out in January this year because I thought it was gonna be garbage. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me for today. Thank you for sitting through a long ass video once again. I hope that you maybe got some movie suggestions. Please watch Dear Zachary if you have a moment, if you have a good hour and a half, I should say. It is free on YouTube, and please be prepared to cry. It is very sad, but I do highly recommend it. Thank you for, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. I just talked for like a half an hour straight. Anyways, that's all for me for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I love you so much. Follow me on Letterboxd. I'll see you soon. Sayonara, Spooky fam.